Hey there, Westeros fans, Dragon Riders, and House of the Dragon enthusiasts. Welcome to an epic deep dive into one of the most legendary and mysterious moments in the Game of Thrones universe. The death of Daemon Targaryen, the Rogue Prince, at the battle above the God's Eye. If you're obsessed with dragons, Targaryen drama, and the tantalizing ambiguity of George R.R. Martin's world, you're in for a wild ride today. We're going to unravel what really happened during that fateful clash, exploring historical accounts, fan theories, and the enduring legacy of Daemon's final stand. Before we soar into the fire and blood of this story, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button to join our community of Westerosi scholars. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment of this. Picture this: two dragons, Caraxes and Vargar, locked in a deadly dance above a misty lake, their roars echoing across the water. On their backs, two Targaryen princes, Daemon, the Rogue Prince, and Aemond, the One-Eyed, clash with swords and dragonfire, their hatred fueling a battle that will go down in history. This is the battle above the God's Eye, the climactic moment of the Dance of the Dragons, where Daemon Targaryen, one of Westeros' most charismatic and polarizing figures, meets his end. Or does he? The official accounts say Daemon perished, but the lack of a body and the myth surrounding the event have kept fans speculating for years. Why does this moment resonate so deeply? Is it the sheer spectacle of a dragon duel, brought to life with jaw-dropping visuals in House of the Dragon? Is it Daemon's larger-than-life persona, a mix of charisma, ruthlessness, and devotion that makes his fate so compelling? Or is it the mystery itself, the unanswered questions that fuel endless debates on X and beyond? In this deep dive, we'll explore every angle of Daemon's death, the historical context from Fire and Blood, the show's portrayal, the fan theories that suggest he survived, and the legacy of this iconic moment. We'll piece together what really happened at the God's Eye and why it continues to captivate audiences. So let's dive into the mist and unravel the truth, or as close as we can get to it, about Daemon Targaryen's final stand. To understand Daemon's death, we need to set the scene in the chaotic, blood-soaked era of the Dance of the Dragons, the civil war that tore House Targaryen apart. By 130 AC, the conflict between the Blacks, led by Rhaenyra Targaryen, and the Greens, led by Aegon II, had reached its peak. Dragons clashed in the skies, castles burned, and families turned against each other in a brutal struggle for the Iron Throne. Daemon, Rhaenyra's husband, uncle, and fiercest ally, was at the heart of the Blacks' war effort, a dragon rider and warrior whose actions shaped the course of the conflict. Daemon's role in the war was pivotal. He captured Harrenhal early on, turning it into a stronghold for the Blacks. He led daring raids, orchestrated alliances, and fought alongside Rhaenyra to secure her claim. But by 130 AC, the tide was turning. The Greens, bolstered by Aemond Targaryen and his massive dragon Vargar, were gaining ground. Aemond, Daemon's nephew and rival, was a formidable foe, young, ambitious, and driven by a personal vendetta against the Blacks, particularly after killing Rhaenyra's son Lucerys. Velaryon at Storm's End, the stage was set for a showdown. Daemon, now in his late 40s, was a seasoned warrior riding Caraxes, the Bloodworm, a dragon known for its ferocity and serpentine agility. Aemond, in his early 20s, rode Vhagar, the largest and oldest dragon in Westeros, a beast of unmatched power. Their rivalry wasn't just political, it was deeply personal. Daemon saw Aemond as a traitor to Rhaenyra's cause, while Aemond viewed Daemon as a dangerous relic of Targaryen arrogance. Their clash was inevitable, and the God's Eye, a lake steeped in myth and mystery, would be their battleground. The battle above the God's Eye, fought on the 22nd day of the 5th moon of 130 AC, is one of the most iconic moments in Fire and Blood and House of the Dragon. According to historical accounts, Daemon, stationed at Harrenhal, learned that Aemond and Vhagar were nearby, terrorizing the Riverlands. Seizing the opportunity, Daemon challenged Aemond to a duel, a challenge Aemond couldn't refuse. The two met above the God's Eye, their dragons roaring as they ascended into the sky. The battle was a spectacle of fire and fury. Caraxes, lean and agile, darted around Veiga, whose massive size made her slower but devastatingly powerful. Daemon and Aemond fought not just with dragonfire, but with swords, their blades clashing as their mounts tore into each other. Fire. And Blood describes the scene in vivid detail. The dragons danced, and the lake below reflected their flames, as if the gods themselves watched in silence. Witnesses, small folk and soldiers alike, claimed the sky burned red as Caraxes and Veiga locked together, their claws and teeth ripping into flesh. The climax came when Caraxes, wounded but relentless, clamped onto Veiga's neck. The dragons plummeted toward the god's eye, a tangled mass of scales and fire. In a final act of defiance, Daemon leapt from Caraxes' saddle, Dark Sister in hand, and drove his sword into Aemond's remaining eye, killing him. The dragons and their riders crashed into the lake, sending up a wave that reportedly flooded the shores. When the dust settled, Aemond's body was later recovered, still chained to Veiga's saddle, with Dark Sister through his skull. But Daemon's body was never found. In House of the Dragon, this battle is a visual masterpiece. The show amplifies the drama with sweeping shots of the dragons spiraling through the mist, their roars shaking the screen. Matt Smith's Daemon is a vision of fearless resolve, his smirk giving way to grim determination as he faces his nephew. The moment he leaps from Caraxes, sword gleaming, is a heart-stopping highlight that has fans buzzing on X with hashtags like #JustGodsEye and Daemon v Aemond. But the ambiguity of his fate, did he die or did he somehow survive, is what keeps the conversation alive. To get to the truth of Daemon's death, let's turn to the source material, George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood. The book, written as a historical chronicle by Archmeister Gildane, compiles accounts from various sources, including the Jester Mushroom, Septon Eustace, and other witnesses. These accounts agree on the broad strokes. Daemon and Aemond fought above the god's eye, their dragons crashed into the lake, and Aemond was confirmed dead. But the details and Daemon's fate are murky. Mushroom, known for his salacious and often exaggerated tales, claims Daemon leapt from Caraxes to kill Aemond in a heroic sacrifice, ensuring Rhaenyra's cause would prevail. He suggests Daemon's body was lost to the lake's depths, consumed by its currents, or perhaps devoured by fish. Septon Eustace, a more conservative chronicler, agrees that Daemon died but frames it as divine judgment for his sins, noting that the god's eye, a sacred site tied to the old gods, swallowed him as punishment. Other accounts, like those from Rivell and Smallfolk, add a mythical flavor, claiming the lake itself wept for the fallen prince. The absence of Daemon's body is the crux of the mystery. Fire and Blood notes that searches were conducted, but no trace of him was found. This has led to speculation that he survived, a possibility Martin deliberately leaves open. The book's unreliable narrators, each with their own biases, make it impossible to know the truth definitively. Ozzy, Daemon's leap a suicidal act of vengeance, or did he have a plan to escape? The ambiguity is classic Martin, leaving fans to fill in the gaps with their own theories. Halfway through our deep dive, let's talk about the fan theories that have kept Daemon's fate alive in the minds of Westeros enthusiasts. If you're loving this exploration of the Rogue Prince's final stand, hit that subscribe button and give us a like to keep the Westeros content coming. Your support helps us unravel more mysteries like this one. The most popular fan theory is that Daemon survived the fall into the god's eye. Proponents point to the lack of a body as evidence, arguing that a warrior as cunning as Daemon could have planned his escape. One version of this theory suggests he swam to shore, perhaps aided by Caraxes before the dragon succumbed to its wounds. From there, he could have fled to Essos, living out his days in secrecy to avoid further conflict. Fans on X love this idea, with posts speculating that Daemon became a sellsword, or even a mysterious figure in Essos, like the Lord of Light's Chosen, tying his fiery legacy to the Red God. Another theory posits that Daemon's survival was tied to the mystical properties of the god's eye itself. The lake, located near the Isle of Faces, is a sacred site linked to the old gods and the children of the forest. Some fans believe the lake's magic preserved Daemon, perhaps transforming him into a figure of myth, like the green men who guard the Isle. This theory, while far-fetched, resonates with those who see Daemon as larger than life, a character too vibrant to simply perish. Skeptics, however, argue that survival was impossible. The fall from such a height, combined with the dragon's wounds and the lake's treacherous currents, would have been fatal. They point to Daemon's age, nearly 50, and the intensity of the battle as evidence that he couldn't have escaped. Plus, his devotion to Rhaenyra suggests he wouldn't abandon her cause even if he survived. These fans see his death as a fitting end, a blaze of glory for a man who lived fiercely. The debate rages on X, with hashtags like Jalkun Demon Lives and Jalkun God's Eye Mystery trending after House of the Dragon episodes. Fan art depicts Daemon emerging from the lake, sword in hand, while others show him falling with a defiant smile. The lack of closure is what fuels these theories, making Daemon's fate one of the most discussed topics in the fandom. House of E. The dragon takes the battle above the God's Eye and turns it into a cinematic spectacle. But how does it compare to Fire and Blood? The show stays faithful to the core elements, the dragon duel, Daemon's leap, and the crash into the lake. Matt Smith's portrayal adds emotional depth, showing Daemon's resolve to protect Rhaenyra's claim, even at the cost of his life. The visuals, Caraxes and Vhagar spiraling through the mist, their flames lighting up the night, are breathtaking, making it one of the show's most memorable scenes. However, the show amplifies the personal stakes. In Fire and Blood, the battle is a climactic moment, but the accounts are distant, filtered through biased chroniclers. The show, by contrast, puts us in Daemon's head, showing his determination and perhaps a hint of regret as he faces Aemond. The decision to leap from Caraxes is framed as both a tactical move and a personal sacrifice, adding layers to his character. Fans on X praise this portrayal, with posts calling Matt Smith's performance iconic and heart-wrenching. The show also leans into the ambiguity of Daemon's fate. While it strongly implies he died, subtle hints, like a lingering shot of the lake's surface, keep the door open for speculation. This aligns with Martin's love for open-ended storytelling, giving fans just enough to fuel their theories, without confirming anything outright. The show's creators have teased in interviews that Daemon's fate is meant to spark debate, much like it does in the book. Daemon's death, or disappearance, at the God's Eye cemented his status as a legend. In Westeros, he became a mythic figure, the rogue prince whose final act was a defiant stand against a hated rival. Bards sang of the battle, their songs blending fact and fiction, until Daemon became a symbol of Targaryen fire and defiance. His daughters, Baela and Rhaena, carried on his legacy, ensuring his bloodline influenced the Targaryen dynasty for generations. For fans, the battle above the God's Eye is a defining moment. It encapsulates everything that makes Daemon compelling: his courage, his recklessness, his loyalty to Rhaenyra, and his refusal to bow to fate. On X, fans share edits of the battle, set to dramatic music, and discuss its emotional impact. Some see it as a tragic end to a flawed hero. Others view it as a triumphant exit for a man who lived on his own terms. Daemon's death also draws parallels to later Targaryens, like Daenerys, whose own fiery legacy echoes his. Both are dragon riders, who embrace their house's motto, Fire and Blood, and both meet ambiguous fates that spark debate. This connection adds depth to Daemon's story, making his death not just an end, but a bridge to the larger Targaryen saga. Why does Daemon's death at the God's Eye resonate so deeply? It's more than just a dramatic battle. It's a moment that captures the essence of the Dance of the Dragons and the Targaryen dynasty. It's a clash of titans, two princes, two dragons, two visions for Westeros, played out on a mythic stage. It's a testament to Daemon's complexity, a man who could be both hero and villain, whose final act was as much about love as it was about vengeance. The mystery of his fate keeps fans engaged, sparking discussions that bridge the book and show. It's a reminder that in George R.R. Martin's world, nothing is ever certain and the best stories leave room for imagination. Whether Daemon died in glory or slipped away to a secret life, his legend endures, a flame that refuses to be extinguished. As we wrap up this deep dive into Daemon Targaryen's death at the God's Eye, it's clear why this moment is so unforgettable. It's a spectacle of dragonfire and sacrifice, a mystery that defies resolution, and a testament to the rogue prince's enduring charisma. Whether you believe he perished or escaped, one thing is certain: Daemon Targaryen left an indelible mark on Westeros and its fans. If you've loved this exploration of Daemon's final stand, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Your support keeps us bringing you more Westeros content. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Daemon died a hero, or did he cheat death to live another day? Let's keep the conversation going. The battle above the God's Eye is more than a moment in history. It's a legend that burns bright, just like Daemon himself. Here's to the rogue prince whose fire and blood will live on forever. Until next time, keep soaring with the dragons.